And another professor bites the dust. For those of you who are following along with my another Slade professor, having a good old time over on Facebook. It's amazing. Of every group of people who exist on the planet, no one has told me to kill myself more than professors. Oh, that was a fun time. Good times indeed. How are you guys doing? Welcome, Mason. How's it going, sir? Hey, I think I saw you on TikTok earlier. How you doing, sir? Riley, what up? How you doing? Changed Owl, welcome, Changed Owl. How are you doing? Alexi says, "Am I cursed?" Probably not, but even if you are, don't worry about it. Just work with what you got and make your life the way you want it to be. Don't worry about things that you can't control. Nitro says, "Hi, it's me, Changed Owl." Yes, it is. Can I have a reader? Yes, indeed. All you need to do to get a reading is share the stream. Share the stream or invite a friend. Just do something to get this out here. Maybe post it on Reddit. I don't know. Throw it in a Facebook group. Whatever people do these days. Try and get the word out. Give this thing a thumbs up. That's always helpful. Whatever you can do, this is more, I mean, it's helpful for me, obviously, getting more attention, but it's also for you, because you don't want to just take. You want to give and take. That's how you get a free reading. So let's get you a reading right now. Holden is looking for a reading. Let's go. Why can't I send money? You can send money through paypal.me/askawizard. That is where you can pay whatever you think a reading is worth and get a paid reading. Let me know that you have. I'll verify it on my end, and that is how you can do it. Also, I think I'm on a Cash App at $AskAWizard. If you want to do it that way as well. And then the best, of course, is patreon.com, where /AskAWizard, where you can buy me a cup of coffee, buy me lunch, or buy me dinner. That is the best place to support. All right, let's get you a reading here, Holden. And later on tonight, we're going to be discussing the Colosseum of the Gods. We're going to be looking into Carl Jung's book, Aion. And it is, quite frankly, one of the most complicated works of psychology and most complicated and philosophical psychological theory I've ever read. And I'm going to try and condense it down for all of you. So it's probably going to be intense, but it's pretty awesome. It is the foundational arguments for why Carl Jung famously said, "I don't believe in God, I know there is a God." So we're going to be going pretty darn deep today. So I hope you guys have your thinking caps on, because we are going to go deep. May I get another reading after him? Yeah, of course. I'll add you to the list. I'm going to do it. Boom. Changed Owl, you're on the list now. Boom. Changed Owl is on the list. The list. You're up next. All right, Mr. Hello, Charles I Game. How you doing? Mason says, "Yo!" Holden, let us get your reading going. Who do we need for insights today? Mr. Socrates, would you be so kind? Thank you very much. Looking into the past here, we have the Tower popping up here. So, ooh, man, Holden, this is intense. So we're seeing a pretty devastating thing happen to us in the past here. This is the revelation of a truth that caused destruction. This is just chaos and turmoil, the breaking down of things that we thought to be true that are not, falling down and being broken in a way that cannot be reconstructed. Oof, a lot of roughness popping up here in the past. Pretty intense times, not the happiest times here in the past. Now, walking into the present, what we see is that you took a very mature approach. This is great to see. This is the thing that most people can't do, which is, even though the past was painful, even though there was some really strong negative things that we had to go through, you are taking the option of saying, look, that was really rough, that really sucked, I am going to learn from it. That's what the Swords is about. And I'm going to take action on that knowledge. And because of that, I'm going to start thinking into the future. How can I avoid this scenario happening again in the future? And rather than just saying, look at me, I'm a victim. Oh, I'm so terrible and oppressed. You're saying, no. Forget that. This happened. I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen in the future. And you're going to take the action necessary. And so that's kind of where we find you at right now. Is this sounding accurate for you, Holden? Let me know in the comments below if this is on point for you. And if it's not, that's perfectly fine. We'll adjust accordingly. But if it is sounding accurate, let me know, and I will move on to the next steps for you. Riley says, I will take a reading as well. Awesome, Riley. Let me get you onto the list. May I get another reading? Riley is on the list now. Mason, were you looking for a reading as well? Let me know. I wish I could be a black crow. Part of the Blackbird program. I don't know. DM me. We can see if you want to do that. It's basically just. The Parliament of Owls is not a secret organization. We are the opposite of a secret society. We tell everyone what we're doing. But more or less, it's just the people who focus on kind of watching getting information that's valuable, things feeding me info that I would find relevant or that the owls would find happy, as well as if there's particularly bad groups at the time, they will often bring me intel. So that's more what they're for. They're very specialized people. They know how to get things. Let's put it that way. Holden is saying this is sounding very accurate. Awesome. Glad to hear that that's sounding accurate for you, Holden. So let's move on to the next steps. Now, walking into the next steps, we see the King of Cups. And so what this is saying is, if I do I change my name? No, not at all. Everyone is an owl in the Parliament of Owls. It's just different people have different skills and specialties and things that they enjoy to help spread and promote the beautiful, the good, and the true. So the King of Cups here, Mason, can I get a reading? Yeah, let me get you on the list here, Mason. Boom. So the King of Cups is about knowledge of the emotions, Holden. So what this is saying is the next steps for you that you should be taking action towards is gaining knowledge of your emotions. I think understanding why you feel what you feel, what the sources of that feeling is, and really getting to the bottom of that is a good place to start here, because that's something you can take action on immediately. And by doing that, you're going to gain a lot of self-knowledge, and that's going to help you gain better understanding of yourself. And that will help you avoid circumstances in the past, like that happened in the past. And you can go and ask yourself, like, hey, I'm feeling this way right now, but is this just my feelings, or is this actually true? And if it's not true, I don't want to deceive myself. So what is the truth? And so I think that's going to help you out a lot here, is just getting a better understanding of what your emotions are caused by, what the source of them is, and then not ignoring them, not bottling them up, but listening to them, engaging with them and saying, I feel really angry right now. Why do I feel angry? What is the source? Okay, what is the middle ground here? How can we negotiate the situation so that we both get what we want? And so that would be my recommendation for you. I hope that that helps you out, Holden, and we're going to move on to the next readings. And later on today, we're going to be having a lecture. What do I DM you on Insta? I don't know, just say, hey, change style here or something. I don't know, Facebook. I'm just saying to give you more information about it. I don't want to be giving all the information out here in the public stream. There are a large amount of people who don't like me. We've banned over 15,000 of them, but just for, from a Sun Tzu perspective, it's no reason for us to give more information to the people who may or may want harm to us, to do bad things. There's no reason for me to give them that information. So feel free to DM me. Is it early for you? It's 9:08. Oh, okay. No problem at all. No problem, Holden. I'm glad that was helpful for you and gave you some insights. Sweet. So next up on the list, we have Changed Owl. Changed Owl. It's time for your readings. Do, 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 do. Ooh, very nice cards popping up here. Very interesting indeed. Awesome. Okay. Anything in particular you're looking for insights on, Changed Owl? Let me know. Can I get a nickname? Changed Owl, I would assume, is your nickname. Whatever you like. Please don't give out your phone number on the stream. That is a foolish mistake to do, and it is not something I can take responsibility for. So if you are foolishly putting your phone number on the stream, you are making a mistake. Please do not do that. All right, so Changed Owl. Let us begin. And I would recommend, if you did, delete your message. That would be my recommendation for you. Yes, I know. Changed owl, what would you like? It's a TikTok, not my phone number. Okay, that's good. Changed owl, it's time for your reading. Is there anything in particular you would like a reading about? Let me know in the comments below if there's anything in particular, or we're just going to move forward with a general reading, which usually works out to be the best anyway. There's been a few exceptions. The one-on-ones, obviously, we do more personalized stuff, but with these, I find that the general typically works out the best. But that's fine. Aristotle, would you like to help out Changed Owl here? Awesome. All right, let's do this. Perfect. Thank you for deleting that message for yourself. Again, yeah, don't put out any information people could use on the internet. That's just a good general rule. Looking into the past, we see the star popping up here. So this is a beautiful card. This is about the inspiration and axiom. This is the revelation of a purpose and a direction in our life. So this is that beautiful moment that not everyone gets to experience, where it's like that inspiration, the sprite, the calling from God, wow, this is what I want to do with my life. This is the direction I want to go with. I'm an ENTP, so I get those all the time from my personality type, but there's a large percentage of the population that never experiences that at all. So if you are blessed enough to have that experience, this is a really great thing indeed. That power of just, whoom, that inspiration, that direction of like, yes, this is what we need to do next. And so beautifully showing up for you here in the past, Changed Owl. Now walking into the present, we see you getting into a really mature, really powerful and strong position here, which is the Magician. The Magician is about balancing our material, our logos, our principles, and our emotions, gaining all of those things together and getting them in the right position so that we can take action on this direction. These two cards together are a very powerful force. This is insane. This is like the ENTP personality type in two different cards, because it's about the ability to find a direction and then to start bending reality by figuring out what variables do I need to reach that goal. How do I get there? What do I need materially? Who do I need? What emotions should I be investing in? What logical strategy should I be employing? And what are the principal foundations for getting to that point? And then you take action on it, and you can start what to most people will look like bending reality as you move steadily forward towards your goal. You are in a very, very powerful position here. So that is the information I have for you right now. Changed Owl, is this sounding accurate for you? Let me know in the comments below. And if not, that's perfectly fine. We will adjust accordingly. But let me know before we move on to the next steps for you. And in just a bit, we're going to do one more reading here for Riley, and then we're going to be doing the lecture, and then after the lecture we will have Mason. Mason will be getting a reading as well, and if you'd like to get added to the list, all you need to do is invite a friend, or thumbs up the video, or share this on Reddit, or share this on, I don't know, Facebook groups, or whatever people share things on these days to help us get some eyeballs in, and by doing so, you will be added to the list and get a free reading. Circus Baby says, hello, Circus Baby. How are you doing? It's a very tragic name now that I think about it. Imagine a baby that was born at a circus. My God. Welcome. And if you'd like to get a reading later on in the stream, feel free to share this or invite a friend. You know, it's an honor system. You know, if you're hanging out with your friends, hey, check out this video. That works too. Do whatever makes your heart feel good. Just know that if you don't, and you get a free reading, you're going to feel guilty. It will happen. And then you'll be sad. And then I'll be sad, because you're sad. It's FNAF. I don't know what that means. I have to go to bed. Good night. Good night. See you later, Holden. This guy's really nice. Well, thank you very much, Riley. I appreciate that. Change all of this is so far. Okay, I'm assuming that that's meaning this is sounding accurate. Awesome, glad to hear. Sweet, so we're going to move on to the next step. So what we see popping up here is we've got all this great stuff lined up here, but into the future here, the next steps, Five Nights at Freddy, it's a horror game. Oh, interesting, never heard of it. Oh wait, I have. That's the like Chuck E. Cheese scary creepy pasta thing, right? I think so. I've never, I didn't know it was a game. I thought it was like a show. I don't know much about it though. So the Six of Pentacles is about a grind in the material. So what this is saying is right now is a really good time for us to be investing in other people, but doing so while exercising judgment. So we ourselves are in a really good spot, but we need to start building teams of people around us that are also crushing at different things that we aren't so good at. This is kind of like what the owls are all about. It's a decentralized network. It's just like, hey guys, this is something we're trying to do that's beautiful, good, and true. Whoever wants to hop on in, let's get this done and work together, that kind of thing. If that's 4 people who want to help, or if that's 100 people who want to help, it's totally just depends on how it works. And so what I would recommend doing is getting that kind of system in your life where you're investing time, knowledge, relationships, energy into the people who have valuable skill sets in your life and are good people, really good people who do want to promote the good, that do want to promote the beautiful, that do want to promote the true. And that doesn't mean they have to believe everything you believe. It just means that they have to be okay with those 3 things. They can have different beliefs, they can have different backgrounds, different skill sets, different intelligence. But if they're good on those, then that's good people to have in your life. And, maybe 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10, who knows how long it is down the road that you're going to be able to send them that text message and be like, dude, I know you love making art. Oh, I see you posting on Instagram all the time. I share it with all my friends. It's like the best stuff. Man, I think that we could make a TV show, or maybe we can make a cartoon or a YouTube channel together, and then you can reach out to them. So just start investing in there because it sounds like you're doing a great job of collecting your own personal skill sets. Now it's time to go and find the other people. The ring was not taken to Mordor by Frodo alone. He had a wizard, he had dwarves, he had elves, he had a lot of help. So get your team, get your fellowship together, and go out there and crush. That would be my recommendation for you, Changed Owl. I hope that helps you out, and we're going to move on to the next reading. We're going to be doing Riley's reading right now, and then after that, we have Mason. Mason is up after Riley, but first, we'll be doing the lecture. Changed Owl says, thanks, my friend. No problem at all. Circus Baby says, yes, I shared. Awesome. I'll get you on the list, Circus Baby. Circus Baby, you're the one. Circus Baby. Boom. Did I miss anybody here? Nope. No, that was just Riley responding to something else. Would you rather be a Pokemon trainer or attend Hogwarts? Guess probably a Pokemon trainer. I'm not really that big a fan of Harry Potter. It's not my kind of story, and I like Pokemon. And that'd be really cool if there were real Pokemon, because that'd be like a fun hobby. I think I'd be a Pokemon breeder, sell Pokemons for money. I'd make shiny Pokemons. But yeah, I think so. I'm not a fan of the story structure that's very popular right now. There is now a Pokemon. I'm aware of that. However, it's not my favorite. My favorite Pokemon is a Numel. Numels are my favorite Pokemon. I have a Numel, and I named him Maurice, and I think he's awesome. He's my favorite Pokemon. But I'm not a fan of the story structure that Harry Potter follows, which is really, really, really popular in today's culture. I'm more of a fan of the Lord of the Rings structure, where it's like and broken, but they have strong character and they have good morals, and through that process, they partner with the right people, work hard to transform themselves and accomplish the impossible. I think that is a much better hero's journey than the Harry Potter story, which is, Harry Potter, you're a special boy and you're super special, and everyone else just doesn't appreciate how special you are and how wonderful and amazing and special everything is about you. And it's okay if you do whatever you want, because in the end, you're the special boy and everything will work out. And you're like, what? That's not an accurate representation of reality at all. Like, that's so unrealistic. And so I don't find that kind of story compelling to me. I'm much more a fan of the noble and good people working hard to accomplish great things, despite not being great or noble. Oh, looks like we lagged out there for a second. Are we back? I think we're back. Should be back. Let me know if you're still here. There is an owl Pokemon. Hey, Dion, how's it going? Let me know if you guys can see this. Can I DM you after this live? Yeah, sure. All right, Riley, let's get you a reading. And then we will begin the Colosseum of the Gods. Yes, I am going to take the undertaking of attempting to distill and condense down one of the most complicated psychological and philosophical works of the 19th and 20th century. So we're going to have fun tonight. Carl Jung's Aion. We're going to be analyzing it and trying to bring it down into the individual level and how you can apply the theory in your own life. We'll be doing that right after this lecture, or this reading right now. Mr. Marcus Aurelius, would you be so helpful? No? Okay, that's fine. Paracelsus? Thank you. Awesome. All right, let's take a look. Looking into the past here, we see the Ace of Pentacles for you. So the Ace of Pentacles is about the beginnings of a new material adventure. This is probably starting a new job or going to school or beginning a new chapter in our life, something where it's just brand new experiences, brand new information, brand new everything. So very good brand new start, the beginning of a new story. And overall, this is the time when we are at our least effective on our story. This is when we are at the state of the most flaws. And as we move forward in our story, we burn off that dead wood, and what's left is the good parts. And then where the old parts have been burnt off, we replace them with new skills, new value, new friends, new mentors to transform ourselves into something better than what we were before. And so walking into the present, what we see for you here, Riley, is the Queen of Cups popping up. So what this is saying is that right now where you're at is the patience with the emotions. And so what this is saying is that you're going through a period right now where you're being confronted with a lot of emotional energy, a lot of emotional sensations, and just overwhelm. And you need to be really patient during this time and confront this, because a lot of the negative things that have happened in your life are because of an inability to handle and regulate emotions. And so by being patient and learning to control those energies and not get rid of them, but instead to use them to your advantage, that's really the transformation period that you're in right now, is understanding how to master and tame these emotional forces rather than just feel them and be overwhelmed by them. And so that's where we find you at right now, Riley. Is this sounding accurate for you? Go ahead and let me know in the comments below. And if not, that's perfectly fine. Just let me know and we will adjust accordingly. But if it is sounding accurate, let me know and we'll move on to the next steps. Also, if you guys could DM here, I don't know if we lost internet connection. If Itachi was real and the crows found out, he died. What? Yes, very much so. Awesome. Glad to hear this is sounding accurate for you. And let's move on to the next steps. So what do we see here? We see the Death card popping up here. Now, before you freak out, the Death card is not a bad card. It's not a negative card. It does not mean bad luck. It does not mean curses. It doesn't mean any of that kind of stuff at all. The Death card is a very good card. So Moses the King says, hi. Hello, Moise. How are you doing? And what the Death card represents is the burning off of the dead wood. This is saying putting an end to the things that are holding us back and letting them die off so that the ground can become fertilized with that destruction and greatness can grow out. This is the forest fire that burns down, that makes the earth fertile so that a better and stronger forest can grow forth. So this is a really powerful call to action here. This is saying, hey, as we're being patient with these emotions, we're going to arrive at things that we know are patterns of behaviors that we need to let end so that better things can grow out of them. And so that is where we see the next steps for you. I hope that helps you out, Riley. I hope that gives you some insights, and we're going to move on to the lecture. Next up, I wish I had a griffin. Interesting. Well, we're going to be talking about, in not this stream, but in an upcoming stream, I'm going to be talking about how to slay a animal similar to a griffin. So you'll see what I mean by that. Yes, thank you. Riley says this is yes, thank you. Glad to hear this is sounding accurate for you and giving you the insights you're looking for. Moise is looking to be added to the list. Yes, indeed. Moise, you are on the list. First, we are going to try and handle. Change Dallas says, no, why the birds? It's not particularly the birds. It's, I don't want to spoil it. You guys will see. It's a metaphor. Awesome. All right. And I think I said hi to Dion, but hello, Dion. How are you doing? So, with that being said, we have up on our list after the lecture here today, we have Mason, Circus Baby, and Moise, who will be getting a reading. But now we are going to be going into the lecture, where we're going to be addressing one of the most complicated works of psychology and philosophy, and I'm going to try and condense it down into a usable piece of information for you guys today. This is going to be intense. Put on your thinking caps, and we're going to try and delve into this, and I'm going to try and get this as simple and clear as I possibly can. That's my goal for this stream, as well as most of my streams, if not all of those streams. I'm also going to try switching back to Wi-Fi, because it looks like my Wi-Fi just kicked back in. Let's see if this works. All right, I think that might have worked. We'll find out. All right, so where do we begin? The Colosseum of the Gods. The Book of Aion, written by Carl Jung. This is the book that essentially elaborates the logical arguments that are laid out in the Red Book by Carl Jung that explain why he made the statement, I don't believe in God, I know there is a God. And there's confusion here, and as you notice, the title of this is not God, G-O-D, with a capital G. This is Gods with a lowercase g. So this is not really addressing the true God, which is the Logos, the Supreme. That's the God of the Bible. And this is different than that. However, Carl Jung also arrived at the existence of Christ through this dissection as well, which we will discuss. And what it amounted to is what I've dubbed the Colosseum of the Gods. And it is that emotions, thoughts, ideologies, and beliefs can be personified as a character that you could equate with, say, a mythical being, a god, and in the lowercase g sense, like Ares or Thor or Odin. These are all lowercase g gods that embody behavioral archetypes, patterns of behavior that go back for hundreds of thousands of years and into humans' DNA. And that's kind of the crux of this theory. The theory is that the things that people called gods are within our mind, and they are patterns of behavior that go throughout time and become personified as a symbol of a character in our mind. And these characters are shared amongst ourselves and become powerful because of the shared collective knowledge of that symbol. Now, what we're going to try to do here is bring that into the conceptual nature of the four quadrants, as usual, with the readings here. So, the first, and I think the easiest way of understanding this, is with emotions. Emotions can be thought of as, and I think as I explain this to you, you'll start to realize how this can feel very similar to what you experience in your life, even though it's a highly complicated idea. So we can think of anger as a form of a spirit in a way. Because when we feel anger, you may have found times when all of a sudden it feels as though you are taken over by an energy that says it is time to feel angry, and you become overwhelmed. Your consciousness feels like it has put into the back of your mind, and you act out on your anger, and it can be an extremely overwhelming force. Carl Jung says that this is the application of all of these major emotions. They are these forces that exist within our mind that can exert massive power over us. And so that is how you can think of these things as an emotion. And Carl Jung argues that by personifying them as a thing, and this doesn't have to be considering them a god. In fact, what I recommend for a lot of my clients is to name them different things. Make them something other than anger. Rather than saying, I feel angry, make a new word or name to describe it, which removes the symbolic force of the word anger and now allows you to really engage with the actual emotion itself. And that's the negotiation with the forces within yourself. Now, you can't engage in that negotiation with the forces unless you have logos. That's truth, the wisdom. That's what Christ teaches you to do. The reason why you are more powerful than all of the spirits and demons of this earth, if you have truth, logos in you, that's what Jesus promises us, is because you have the ability to then negotiate with these other beings, these lesser gods, these lesser deities. And that's what is being talked about in the Bible there. And so you're able to engage with these forces that you wouldn't be able to without truth, logos, the light, the truth, and the way. And so that's the emotional perspective there. That's I think the easiest foot in the door for this is the feelings of emotion. When we're overwhelmed by love, all of a sudden, we could think of that as Cupid. Cupid shooting you with an arrow. All of a sudden, boom, you're like, wow, I really like that person. I find them very attractive, and I want to go talk to them. Or it might be, a different reaction. Maybe it's like, oh, I'm really nervous now. I don't want to go talk to them. Whatever your particular emotion might be, that is the feeling of being overwhelmed by the feeling of love. And so people personify that with the symbol of Cupid. And you can still do that with your imagination now. And so what Carl Jung is arguing is, well, we'll get to that in the material about how to apply this in your own life, but in a short, brief mention of it, by personifying these emotions, you actually can gain a lot more information about the topic than you would just by thinking about it logically, like, oh, I feel love. It's easier to personify that thing as a entity or a idea or a different word, and that will give you better insights on the topic. Now, this crosses right over into the logical field. And so the logic, the logos, the ideologies is a very, very important and terrifying concept that needs to be talked about. What this is saying is that same concept we just described with emotions right now doesn't just apply to you, but it applies to everyone. Now, when you think about that fact that everyone experiences these overwhelming forces of primal energy that can be manifested as symbols collectively, then you get the next step, which is ideology and the ideological mob. So people can collectively get underneath a spirit or a god or a idea or a concept and be possessed as a group so that the individuals are not able to engage in logos because they are essentially worshiping a better idea. This is why God says, have no gods before me. If you worship anything, any idol other than truth, other than logos, other than Christ, you're screwed, because by worshiping any other thing, logos is now below it, and then you will be consumed by a mob of ideology. It's a very real and really deadly force that can be used to destroy nations. This is what we saw happen in the 19th century and 1940s in Stalin's reign, in Mao in China. All of these things are examples of how an ideology was created that brainwashed the mob. So you can identify these very clearly when you find people who get into large groups and all say the same things and wave the same flags and are saying the same talking points over and over again. When you see that, That's not a group of people, individuals anymore. They become something different. They are a group that honors a godlike ideology, and they worship that ideology. And that is not something that can be reasoned with, because it's not a reasonable thing. There is no truth behind that. It is a creature. And so you want to deal with that thing differently than you would, say, an individual who's capable of logic and communication, possessed within a mob, is no longer capable of this. A good example of this, this doesn't necessarily have to be scary, as it can be scary, but we use this for practical purposes all the time. For example, the military is a prime example of where we do this on purpose. We set the military following orders at the highest ideal, so that when military officers are put into situations that would be morally compromising, is this the right thing to do? Is this the wrong thing to do? We set the higher ideal, which is follow the orders of our commander. That is the way to go, so that they don't get caught up in those emotional traumas that can destroy them. And if you don't have that higher ideal and you are in a state of logos, this can be really damaging to you. This can cause PTSD. And so there are systematic reasons for why people would do this on purpose. However, overall, the Christian perspective on it would be never worship anything over truth. Truth needs to be your prime, highest ideal, regardless of what the world tries to drag you into. So if you ever find yourself in a mob where everyone is saying the same things and waving the same flags and saying the same ideologies, and you turn on the TV and everything agrees with you, that is the time to say, whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on here? And to reassess, am I following truth? Am I looking at logos? Am I following the light, the truth, and the way? Am I promoting the beautiful, the good, and the true? And really catch yourself, because that's when we need to turn inward and gain self-knowledge. We're going to talk about that in another stream, about how to slay chimeras, but that's just a brief preview for it. So that is the ideological level. Now, the final level, well, actually, we'll save the end of the book for last. So how do we apply this knowledge? What is this in the material sense? How can you start utilizing this in your day-to-day life? Well, by applying this filter. This is what I talk about a lot. They're called paracosms. A paracosm is a fantasy world in your head. It's where you use your imagination to augment reality. It's almost like intentionally daydreaming, or the way that you intentionally made an imaginary friend as a child. The same capacity is what you use to create a paracosm. And you can create paracosms that are useful for predictive means. They aren't true, but they are predictive. And so that's the closest thing you can arrive at to the truth from a symbolic way. And this allows you to do highly complex data-solving problems that would not be possible for you to do with just your logical brain, by utilizing your subconscious imaginative state. And Carl Jung was famous for being able to do this. In fact, the reason I found out about Carl Jung was because I had read about him as being someone who could do the similar thing. As a child, being able to do it, I assumed I was a crazy person. And so I went on a search to find other people who had experienced it. And it was hard to find, but I did find that Carl Jung was someone who was known for having the paracosms. And so that is how I got into Carl Jung initially. And that being said, how do we start utilizing this in the real world? So begin to use your imagination. You can look at groups of people when you see them acting in a similar fashion, similar behavior, and have a symbol behind them, and start to characterize that in your mind, personify it into a being. Maybe they're symbolized by an animal, or maybe they're symbolized by a deity, or maybe they're symbolized by a cartoon character that's archetypical, someone that you really could feel compelled by, for example. And by doing this, you can take that massive amount of trillions of pieces of data that mob or idea or group or belief is giving you, and you can condense it down into a basic symbol. Now, that symbol is not the representation of truth of that group. There is an infinite amount of truth to be found in that group. But once you condense it down into a symbol, you can then condense down other concepts into similar symbols using your imagination. And then this is where the concept of the Colosseum of the gods comes into play. You can begin to look at the world as these symbols of these different groups and different organizations and different ideas and different beliefs and different emotions, and what they represent and what they will stand for and what they won't stand for. And you can put them into combat with each other, and that is an accurate representation of what you will experience in the real world. This is one of the ways that I'm able to, quote unquote, predict things before they happen. I'm not a psychic. I am looking at the past, looking at the present, and then based on that, trying to make predictions of, if this continues to be the way it is, and this is the way that things are currently, then this is the likely outcome of the future. And so this is one way of doing that. By creating these cartoonized versions of the ideas, you can pit them against each other, and from there you can draw conclusions and say, well, this particular story in combat with this particular story would result in this particular outcome. So for example, maybe you find one group is represented by Loki, and then another group is represented by Thor. They have two energies of Thor and Loki, and you could pit them against each other and see what scenarios are they running into, and read the mythical literature on Thor and Loki, and see what story seems to be playing out right now. And when you find that, what you'll find terrifyingly true is not only are you able to find a story that matches up nearly perfectly, but as you read into the story, the nature of these organizations, regardless of how big or powerful or complex they are, will follow that narrative to the letter. It's horrifying. So you can read the story and say, I know that they're at this part of the story, so I know this is coming. I know they're at this part of the story, I know this is coming. They're at this part, this is coming. And you can literally see what is coming based on the archetype. And so that is the concept of Aion, the Colosseum of the gods, and how you can utilize that same data for yourself. Now, the final piece, the ultimate, if you take this to its absolute extreme, in which what Carl Jung did and where he arrived at the fact that God exists, not the belief, but the knowledge that God exists, is in the manifestation of Christ, and in turn, the Antichrist. What he found at the root of all of these stories and all of these myths and all these beliefs is one archetype, which is the truth, Logos, the Christ, the light, the truth, and the way, the beautiful, the good, and the true. We have one representation of that as the ultimate supreme, and then on the other side is the antithesis to all of that. That is what we would call the Antichrist, the Satan, the Lucifer. And the ultimate story that we see being acted out through all these little tiny micro battles and micro battles within micro battles within micro battles, that whole overarching story is the birth of Christ, the death of Christ, and then the resurrection of Christ. So you have the loop that we are going to towards the archetype, which is the birth of Christ. Boom, right here, BC, birth of Christ. Christ is born, Christ dies, and then we have the rise of the Antichrist, the antithetical creation of the opposite of what is Christ, which uniformly makes like a this kind of shape. It comes up to the end and reaches back to a pinnacle where you have the Antichrist fall and Christ comes back and is reborn and is the prophecy fulfilled. So that is the Aion of Christ that Carl Jung identifies in his book. And if you want to get more details on that, I highly recommend checking out his book, Aion. You can get that on Amazon. And he was one of the greatest minds that has lived in the recent years, nowhere near as intelligent as Aristotle, but still very, very intelligent man. And definitely, the foundation of all of psychological theory and all of psychological thoughts are based on what he taught, and him and Freud basically make up most of what is known in psychology today that is still predictable. Most of what we see in psychology that is not in alignment with Carl Jung and Freud is not reproducible. In fact, 80% of it isn't reproducible at all. And so that is the argument that he proposes in the book. And so that is the Colosseum of the Gods. And that is the lecture for today, and we're going to move on to the next readings. And if you have any questions or you want to discuss these ideas, if you want to come up with some insights for yourself, I'd love to discuss it, and we will get that going right now. First up on the list is Mason. Mason is up next. Mason, it's time for your reading. If you're here, Mason, let me know in the comments below if you are here, and we will get your reading started shortly. What do we got here? Is there a god of wind? Of wind? Yes, yes. There's gods of. That's a really, if you want a funny reading, Aion is very interesting because he gets into the lesser gods. So he talks about how lesser forces within us are different, symbolized by different and simpler entities. It does sound scary. This is good. Like a raindrop. Exactly. Circus Baby says, sorry. I don't know. What? Okay. What? It's just used to. No problem. Okay. So, yes. So he actually talks about this in detail, which is this really creepy concept of, how does he call it? Endomorphic, I believe, and exomorphic. And so what he's talking about is the sensations that we feel. Like if I hit myself like this, right? There's a conscious tense sensation of me snacking my finger here. But there is a level of force that I could apply that's so light that I wouldn't notice it or register it consciously. So someone could come up and just gently brush against my shirt. And if I didn't see them do that, I wouldn't know it consciously, even though I did pick up on the behavior. My brain was aware of it, but I was not conscious of it. And so these smaller forces, these weaker forces, are these lesser forces. So that might manifest as like the god of the squirrels, or maybe it's the gnomes or things of that nature. So there's these other forces that get represented in symbolic ways in our mind. It's very interesting. Circus Baby says question mark. All right, Mason, you are up next, and then we have Circus Baby. Circus Baby, your reading is after Mason's. Mason, if you are here, let me know in the comments below what you would like your reading about, and we will get you your reading starting shortly. And if you're not here, we're going to drum roll you off, and we will start on Circus Baby. Circus Baby, if you know what reading you would like, let me know in the comments below, and we will get your reading started shortly. Let me know in the comments below. Changed Owl says it's 2 people only. No. That's just who's next. I go one ahead so that they have time to prepare. So we have Mason, and then we have Circus Baby, and then we have Moise. Circus Baby just says 4. I don't know what that means. All right. 4. All right. Going once, Mason. Going twice, Mason. And Soul. Reading is off the list for Mason, and we're going to move on to Circus Baby. Circus Baby, what would you like a reading regarding? Let me know. Let me know, Circus Baby. Do. It's time for your reading right now. Circus Baby. Just a general reading it is? All right, let's go. Ooh, spooky card popping up there. But don't worry, it's not as bad as it looks. Let's take a look. May I get another read? We only do 1 reading per stream. That's just to make sure that we don't get like overwhelmed. And also, the readings are designed to give you the information for a day, sometimes a little bit more into a week. And in rare cases, it'll actually go long-term as well. And like in the case of these, we have some pretty bigger forces at play with the major arcana. So typically, we're going for just 1 reading per stream. No, not too scary. You'll be fine. This is a good reading. All right, so let us find out for you, Mr. or Mrs. I'm not sure. Circus Baby. Looking into the past here. Who do we need? No, Nietzsche, get out of here, you creep. Let's go with Seneca. Seneca should help. All right. Looking into the past here, we see the Seven of Swords. Ooh. So the stealing of knowledge, the gaining of wisdom, confidence in our understanding and wisdom. So we are in a position where we may have been learning a little bit more than we were taking action on. And this can lead to a lot of problems where we think that we've learned something, but we haven't acted it out in the real world. And that's a lot different from actually knowing something. There's a big difference between the learning a topic and acting out the ideas in the real world in the material sense. And so typically what will happen is you'll gain a whole bunch of wisdom about something. You think you know what you're doing, then you jump in to actually do it, and all that knowledge just blows up in your face, and maybe 1% sticks around and is super useful and valuable. And then you realize, man, I wish I had just started in the beginning. This is why I'm a big proponent of get one great mind from the past to accomplish what you're trying to do, read their one guide on how to do it, and then just take action on it. And then from there, as you run into walls, seek out new information. That's a much better strategy than just trying to gather all the wisdom you can. That's what I do for my clients is I say, hey, where are we going at? What's our direction? What's our axiomatic alignment? Where do we want to be? Then from there, I'm asking them, all right, what skill sets do you have? What skill sets do you need to get to that point? Let's figure that out. What's your personality? Which ones are going to work best with your personal strengths and weaknesses? And then let's get you on a material path. Here is the book to read. Here's the skills that you need to start practicing to get to that goal. And so just make sure that you're taking that into consideration. However, what we see walking into the present here is that you have begun to do that process. You've actually made a very intelligent decision. You recognized, hey, I've kind of been trying to get a lot of information, but not really acting on it. And so now what we see you doing is a very mature choice, which is, man, a lot of people making very mature choices today. I'm very happy with today's stream. You guys are doing awesome. Very, very glad to see you guys making the smart choices. Most people don't make the smart choices, so that's awesome to see you guys doing this. The High Priestess is saying, you're taking that knowledge that you gained and we're starting to filter it down and say, okay, some of this is junk, some of this is good. I'm trying to analyze what it is. However, what I am picking up on is you're still doing this intellectually. So you're doing this in your brain rather than just testing the ideas out and doing it in the real world. And so that's kind of where we find you at right now. Is this sounding accurate for you? Circus Baby, let me know in the comments below if this is sounding on point. And if not, that's perfectly fine. Just let me know. We'll adjust accordingly. But if it is sounding accurate, let me know and we'll move on to the next steps. Circus Baby says, yes, this is sounding accurate. Glad to hear that this is sounding accurate for you. And it is a she. Awesome. Glad to hear. So the next steps, what we see here popping up is the Devil card. Now, before you freak out, the Devil card is not, again, it's not a curse. It's not a negative thing. Can my nickname be Arthur? Sure, I just probably won't remember it. I'll probably call you Changed Owl. You could change your name to Arthur Owl, I guess, if you wanted. That would probably be a way of doing it. So the Devil card is not a negative card. It's not a curse. Well, it is a negative card in a way. I'll explain. But it's not like cursed or bad luck or any of that nonsense. What it means is that be on the lookout for temptation. So what you're going to probably run into is a temptation to go back to this old pattern of gain more wisdom, gain more knowledge, gain more information, but never taking action. So this temptation is going to be presented to you to keep doing that, but you're not going to move forward if you keep doing that. So what you should do is be aware that that temptation's there and choose to take action on it. Good, I have too much bad luck. Yeah, definitely. The cards do not do this. This is not spirits. This is not communicating with angels or demons or any of that nonsense. I've memorized archetypical story, philosophy, and I use these cards to remember that wisdom. So be wary of the temptation to get lost in the knowledge again and instead take action. If you do, you'll be able to overcome this force and you will be able to crush and get closer to your dreams. And so that is the reading I have for you today. I hope that helps you out, Circus Baby, and we're going to move on to Moise. Moise, you are up next. Moise, Moise, Moise. It's time for your readings right now. Good, I have too much bad luck. Scary card. It is a bit of a scary card. I will agree. It is scary in the sense that it's temptation. However, it is real. It's a constant thing that men and women have to deal with, which is the temptations. We live in the realm of Satan, and this is his realm, and so he's able to offer us temptations, and we can choose to accept them or deny them. And that's what it means to be a Christian. A Christian says, no, I'm going to choose to deny those things, and I'm going to follow truth. May I ask why do you got scary name cards? What do you mean? Oh, I used the tarot cards because they have bigger pictures. It's easier for people to see. That's it. I actually have quite a few. Let me see. I can. I've got these ones as well. They're more like a nature theme. Each one I use for different mnemonics. So I've stored different data. So when I do my one-on-ones with people and they're looking for bigger picture information, so like if we're engaging with this concept that I just discussed, the Age of Ions, these guys here are what I look for in terms of bigger picture things. So like what are the forces at play that we can't control but are just enacting in the world? What are the creative forces? And so they're a little bit smaller, but they're more nature themed. So I like these ones as well. And then my favorite, of course, is these guys right here. But I've been using the tarot ones lately because they're bigger. It's easier for the camera. But this, if you ever meet me in person, these are the ones that I'd be using as either these guys, which is just a regular deck of cards. I am the most familiar with them. And I use the same mnemonic devices for these. So, for example, that guy, boom. The 10 of Diamonds is about the completion of a material chapter in your life. This is the end of one story coming to an end and the beginning of a new story. So I can see those cards through that way. And then, of course, my ultimate go-to is just a bicycle deck of cards. I do it with those as well. It's not about the deck. The deck's not magic or special in any way. It is just a tool for me to use for my memory so that I can remember stuff. I am not smart enough to remember all of archetypical story and philosophy without a tool. So I have developed a tool to memorize that philosophy and archetypical story that I've studied. That's what a wizard does. I like your owl. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Awesome. All right. Well, Moise, I haven't seen you pop up, so I'm assuming that is a roll call. Awesome. I think that's going to be the end of the stream then. Sweet. We're going to roll call him off, though. Moise. Going once. Going twice. Sold. Moise is off the list. All right, everybody. I think that is the end of tonight's stream. Unless you guys got some questions, you want to discuss the concepts of Aion, let me know in the comments below. And of course, always feel free to DM me. And by the way, if you're interested in doing a one-on-one call and doing a personality test, where I do a free one-on-one call with you for to give you insights on your hero's journey and offer directions for you and help you out, you can sign up for that. That's on my TikTok profile as well as my Instagram profile. That's the one-on-one personality test call. It is free to do. And then at the end, if you enjoy what I'm doing, I will then say, hey, would you like me to do this in the future? And you can pay whatever you think it's worth. That is how that works. So if you're interested in trying that out, that is a limited time offer. I cannot guarantee that will continue to be the way, especially since I just saw like 75 people visit my website today alone for that one offer, which is going to be very overwhelming, but okay. So if you'd like to check that out, go on over to askawizardmagic.com. The free personality test is there. And of course, you can always support this stream financially directly by going to patreon.com/askawizard, where you can buy me a cup of coffee, buy me lunch, or buy me dinner. And that's perfectly fine, Circus Baby. If you have zero money, do not worry even a second. There's so many different ways to support what I do and to get free readings here. That's why I do these streams, is so that I can give the wisdom to people who need it the most, who can't afford it. And that is why these are here. There's so many ways that you can bring value that are outside of money. Money is only one form of currency. You can help by telling your friends about this stream, by inviting them over to watch the stream, by sharing this on Reddit, by liking this video, by making cool memes about this, by making your own content and then trying to make money through posting stuff on YouTube. There's tons and tons of different ways that you can help support that have nothing to do with money. And in fact, I am working on something called the Fairy Program. It's not done yet, but I am working on a program that is ideal for helping people who don't have money and may potentially allow them the opportunity to make a little bit of money as well. So that is don't worry at all if you are, especially during these times where money is so tight for a lot of people, do not concern yourself with money. If I'm ever in a financial situation, I will be honest with you guys and let you know. Right now, I am blessed to not be in a bad situation. Do not worry whatsoever. Want to know mine? I follow you on TikTok. Thank you very much. Circus Baby, I appreciate that. Changed Alice says, I do too. Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and thank you for all of the support. And I will see you guys again tomorrow, Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. Pacific Coast time here on YouTube and 7:30 p.m. Pacific Coast time over on TikTok. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.